Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, the Department of Justice is going after sex offenders who fail to properly register. And on Tuesday, they netted one arrest. The department wants the community to have a sense of awareness on the online registry where they keep tabs on persons convicted of sex offenses and encourage sex offenders to make sure they update the government on their movements. News 2's April Knight has that story.
The Department of Justice has found one of the two sex offenders they're looking for.
Darian Johnson was apprehended this morning on St. Thomas. He registered and he was complying, and then we allege he failed to come in when he was supposed to.
This is part of an ongoing effort to make sure sex offenders are registered with correct information about locations and residences.
We have all of their information. We know how to reach them. They know how to reach us. There's never an issue. If they leave the territory, we are aware of that. So we have systems in place, even with customs, Border Patrol.
According to Attorney General Claude Walker, the department sends out agents on a regular basis to make sure the registry is updated and correct. The law says persons convicted of a sex offense have to register, and how often depends on the tier that they belong to. They have to go to the Department of Justice in their respective districts, where agents will help them complete the process.
They overwhelmingly do. They know what the process is. But with anything, you will always get these situations where one or two persons will not follow up or follow through. And
there are currently 54 registered sex offenders on St. Croix and 59 on St. Thomas and St. John. You can find the registry and other resources on usvi.nsopw.gov. Sex offenders face penalties of up to $5,000 and or 2 years in prison if they fail to register.
This is very serious. We take it very seriously at the Department of Justice because it involves protecting women and children.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Johnson was eventually charged with failure to register. His bail was set at $1,000, and unable to post bail, he was remanded to Golden Grove. The Department of Justice is still looking for Daniel Cove, a 33-year-old Caucasian male whose last known address is Estate Windberg. Cove is required to register every 6 months. Senator Kenneth Gittens is weighing in on the woes of Seaview Nursing Home in the wake of the chaotic removal of elderly residents last week. The administration made it clear that residents can't stay in the unlicensed facility. Gittens offered some solutions of his own, a bill that would repurpose some money toward the ailing nursing home.
What I've done is submitted a request to reprogram the remaining balance of the nearly $1.4 million that was initially earmarked to be used for a pilot home-based program for frail senior citizens. I believe that money will better be used to assist with the emergency circumstances at the Seaview Nursing Home, since it has not been totally expended to date and the initial program has not yet been implemented. Those residents are our elders and disabled citizens in this community, and it would be unconscionable for us to see them displaced.
On Monday, as we reported, Governor Kenneth Mapp held a press conference where not only did he address the Seaview situation, but also the beautification of VI roads. To that end, Governor Mapp made some changes in the ranks of Department of Public Works and hired new employees to keep an eye on litter in the roadways. News 2's April Knight has more.
Governor Mapp said he's not pleased with what he sees driving down the territory's roads.
Street lights are off, the roads are not striped, the towns are filthy, coming from the airports are filthy, and I'm just not pleased.
That's why he's shaking up the top positions at the Department of Public Works to make sure things get done. Assistant Commissioner Dennis Brow will be responsible for everything from overgrown brush to potholes to street lights. Vincent Kelly will support him as Deputy Commissioner of Operations. Roan Creaky will also be Deputy Assistant Commissioner for Operations for the St. Thomas-St. John District. The governor is also hiring some 20 litter associates whose main job is to go around and make sure the roads are clear and clean. 10 will be on St. Croix, 7 on St. Thomas, and 3 on St. John.
Keep their eyes open for them. They're going to have on the proper safety vest and gloves and tools that they need, and their job is to help us keep our islands clean. I want to welcome you good folks on board. I want you to do a day's work.
But the governor said responsibility also lies on the community altogether, saying residents need to stop dirtying their own surroundings.
You got to stop going to McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken and wherever else you go and buying your food and then turning down your window and throwing the stuff out in the street.
And he's serious with penalties, considering new punishments for litter bugs.
See where we can increase the penalties for litter, but start off when we convict somebody for litter, that they go out and work for 20 days on a road crew with a t-shirt says, "I'm a litter bug," and that they clean up the islands.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
In other news, Fitch Ratings on Monday downgraded WAPA's revenue bond for a second time this year. Julio Reimer, WAPA's executive director, offered a statement. He said the actions by Fitch were not by any means unanticipated. The downgrades by the rating agencies over the past several months simply underscores the gravity of the authority's financial outlook. Each day, WAPA redoubles the efforts to stabilize its finances, address outstanding receivables, and remain current on its payables, all with the anticipation that the financial forecast will improve. Only by working in tandem with the MAP administration and the leadership of the territorial hospitals will we arrive at a permanent fix for the long-standing problems of large outstanding receivables, one of the primary contributors to the unhealthy financial footing affecting WAPA and its bond ratings. It is the only time that Tim Kaine and Mike Pence will share the debate stage, but tonight's vice presidential debate is expected to be a more subdued affair than last week's first showdown between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Karen Kafer reports from Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia, where the running mates are set to debate this evening.
This vice presidential debate may seem unconventional for 2016 for being so conventional. A senator who's been a governor who's been a congressman, in the shadow of a history-making showdown between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump.
I reached out to her right after and said, "Man, you really raised the bar."
He tells it like it is, from his heart, from his mind, to the American people. Hear him loud and clear.
A CNN ORC poll finds voters split on who will come out on top tonight. 38% said Tim Kaine, 38% said Mike Pence, but nearly a quarter said they didn't know enough to make that call, opening an opportunity to make an impression. In addition to talking up themselves, they'll need to talk up their tickets. Clinton and surrogates have been hammering Trump with a New York Times report that showed he declared a massive loss in 1995 that could have allowed him to legally avoid paying taxes for 18 years.
But I think with those critical, persuadable voters that remain, that both campaigns are fighting over, I think they're going to be very troubled by what we learned over the weekend.
But Pence will likely hit Kaine with a Republican theme Trump used last week. Kaine and Hillary Clinton, both longtime politicians, can't bring real change.
If you're happy with Washington, the way things are going, with a government that's unresponsive, I think then you should vote for Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine.
In Farmville, Virginia, I'm Karen Kafa.
Keeping our eye on the economy, Apple is taking its long-running patent dispute with Samsung to the Supreme Court. The American tech giant is asking the court to uphold a jury's award for damages against the Korean company. In 2012, a jury trial found Samsung had infringed on 6 different Apple patents and awarded Apple $1 billion in damages. An appeals court reduced the award to $548 million in 2015. Samsung is now questioning whether it has to pay the full $548 million. The Supreme Court has agreed to review the case. Let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers there, we can see everything down. The Dow 85, NASDAQ 11, S&P 500 also down at 10. Coming up on News 2, the latest on Hurricane Matthew's whereabouts and how we might be affected weather-wise. That's coming up. 8 Virgin Islands police officers from St. Thomas and St. Croix returned earlier today at the King Airport and King and Rolson Airport after successfully completing a rigorous 6-month training program at the NYPD Academy in New York City. Graduation ceremonies were held on Thursday, September 29th. The officers received comprehensive training in areas to include police science, firearms, defensive tactics, crisis management, community relations, hazmat, and fitness. Police Commissioner Delroy Richards and Lieutenant Jones Maria, Special Assistant to the Commissioner and Liaison to the NYPD, they attended that graduation. Governor Kenneth Mapp recently offered his congratulations to the 8 officers and said the administration remains committed to the professional development of its police force. The Virgin Islands Department of Education's Office of the Insular Superintendent, St. Thomas St. John District, they're inviting the public to its annual Education Expo. Mark it on your calendar. That's Saturday, October 8th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Tutu Park Mall Center Court. The annual event, expected to be bigger and better than before, is designed to showcase the services the district offers, as well as the talents of students and schools. Attendees will enjoy exciting student performances from various schools. Free books will also be given away through a special partnership between the Education and Better World Books, Inc. Organizations and agencies offering services to parents and families will be present. Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter invites small business owners and potential business owners in the USVI to the Small Business Financing Conference. That's Thursday, October 20th on St. Thomas at the UVI Sports and Fitness Center, and on Friday, October 21st on St. Croix at UVI Great Hall. The deadline date for registration for that conference has been extended to Friday, October 14th, 2016. There is no registration fee. However, due to space limitations, attendees are required to register by the deadline date. You can call the Lieutenant Governor's office for details. Meanwhile, Osbert Potter, Lieutenant Governor, is also inviting the public to a presentation for the launching of Google Street View in the territory. That's on Thursday, October 6th, 10 a.m. in the Rotunda at the office of the Lieutenant Governor on Government Hill, St. Thomas. This project will be managed as a partnership between the Geospatial Information System, GIS division, and Google representatives, Smart Tour Media. Google Street View is a technology featured in Google Maps and Google Earth that provides panoramic views from positions along many streets in the world. It was launched in 2007 in several cities in the United States and has since expanded to include cities and rural areas worldwide. Innovative Cable TV recently received notice that Pivot, which is a part of the expanded level of service, is being discontinued by the programmer effective October 31st, 2016. Pivot is currently airing on Channel 131 on Innovative Cable TV St. Thomas St. John and Channel 141 on Innovative Cable TV St. Croix. Graciela Rivera, the Vice President of Cable TV Services, stated that Innovative Cable TV continues to strive to provide quality entertainment. On occasion, the programmer may decide to cancel a particular channel. Pivot will be discontinued in 1 month. She encourages viewers to stay tuned to Innovative Cable TV for exciting upcoming channel announcements. Well, Hurricane Matthew is pounding the Caribbean. Forecasters aren't sure where it's heading next, but residents in the southeastern United States are preparing for the worst. Diane Gallagher has the latest.
The strongest hurricane to hit Haiti since 1964. Matthew made landfall early Tuesday morning, battering the beaches with torrential downpours, dangerous flooding, and winds of 145 miles per hour, bending trees in half. The devastation there is expected to be great. More than 6,000 people evacuated to shelters before the deadly storm even hit. U.S. aircraft carriers have already set sail from Virginia with supplies to help Haitians after the Category 4 storm. Now, other Caribbean nations are preparing for the worst as signs of Matthew crash ashore.
Hurricane Matthew is a Category 4 storm and is deadly. We cannot take this storm lightly.
Its forecasted path headed straight for the U.S.
This is a deadly storm approaching our coast. I cannot stress that enough.
Though forecasters don't expect it to hit Florida until Thursday night, a hurricane watch is in effect for part of the state already. And Governor Rick Scott is urging people along the I-95 corridor from the Keys to Jacksonville to start preparing now.
If you think you're going to need to evacuate, do it today.
Lines at Florida gas stations were already long Tuesday. Hardware stores full of people stocking up on water, batteries, and plywood. Now, Florida has declared a state of emergency, and President Obama canceled planned events there. FEMA is pre-positioning resources along the East Coast now to prepare for the storm.
We are preparing for the worst and hoping for the best, and we're not going to take any chances.
In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
And we have our weather forecast coming up shortly, but just before we do that, just a quick reminder of the Virgin Islands Puerto Rico Friendship events. The Committee on St. Thomas, St. John, they're reminding everyone about the annual celebration entitled Movements and Cultural Reflections. Now, this Friday, October 7th, 6 p.m., the Virgin Islands Council on the Arts will feature a photo exhibit by Mario Picayo at 6 p.m., displaying carnival costumes of the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba. Mr. Picayo will speak on creative similarities and differences among the jurisdictions. There will be a wine tasting also on Saturday, October 8th at 6 p.m. at E's Garden Tea House and Things. Showcases an evening reflecting blends of friendship to include an orchestra directed by Lewis Taylor, art exhibit, and reciting of poetry. Monday, October 10th at 7 p.m., the Reichel Center for the Arts will feature Gatique Folkloric Ballet of Puerto Rico. The program will also showcase local cultural performers such as Mungo Niles cultural dancers and the Caribbean ritual dancers. Attendance to all events are free. Meanwhile, the Big Island, of course, they're preparing for the VIPR Friendship Village, named in honor of Mr. Paul Yarwood, on Friday at the D.C. Cannegator Ballpark. Now, this Thursday, there is a Secret Night service at 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. opening softball tournament at the D.C. Cannegator Ballpark. What is the weather going to be like for those events? Be sure to stick around. That's coming up next.
Well, the most noticeable thing here on the weather map is Hurricane Matthew, which is caused tremendous impacts to Haiti, also pushing its way across eastern Cuba. Now back into our area, we have some of the periphery effects of that with some showers around, but taking a look at our Futurecast products here, you can see how it continues to push northward. We will have some of those effects still around as we go into tomorrow with a shower or two. Now tonight we'll see a shower or two around, and we'll see our temperatures at 79 degrees. Tomorrow in St. John's, 89 degrees. A shower or two for tomorrow as well. Into St. Thomas, we'll see a shower or two with a high of 89 degrees, and in St. Croix, 88 degrees, and we'll have some brief showers in the forecast. Our waves on the Atlantic side are 2 to 4 feet. We have southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. Now on the Caribbean side, this is where we do have a small craft advisory in effect because seas are pretty choppy as a result of Matthew's impact. So we'll see winds out of the east 10 to 15 knots. Waves are 4 to 6 feet. And again, we do have that advisory in effect. Now, taking a look at the extended forecast for Thursday, we'll see a shower or two with a temperature of 90 degrees. And then as we go into your Friday, we're kind of back into that trade wind pattern where we see a few brief passing showers here or there. So we'll have that on Friday with a few showers and a temperature of 89 degrees. On Saturday, sunny breaks here, intervals, and a temperature of 90 degrees, a shower or two. And then on Sunday, we'll see a shower in spots with a high temperature of 90 degrees. We'll also have a good deal of sunshine around. Sandy, back to you.
Thanks for that. It is time for our news to weather picture. Donnelly Isaac hoping for more of this typical VI weather, representing the LCR Community Learning Center, 9 years of age. And we are being impacted by Hurricane Matthew, Donnelly, so not too typical at the moment. Thanks for your creative work of art. Send us your news to weather picture. You too can see your picture featured right here. Just send it to the address on the screen and include your name, age, school, and brief description of your work of art, and tune in to see it right here on News 2. Stick around. News 2 Sports comes your way next.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. The Minnesota Vikings are one of the pleasant surprises in the NFL this season. They lost their starting QB Teddy Bridgewater before Game 1 and running back Adrian Peterson in Game 2. But they have not skipped a beat thanks to the play of newly acquired QB Sam Bradford and a defense that has mashed opposing offenses. On to Monday Night Football, where the Vikes hosted the New York Football Giants. First quarter action, Giants' Dwayne Harris muffs the punt, and moments later, running back Matt Asiata into the end zone for 6. Vikes up 7-0. Second quarter, and it's Bradford to tight end Kyle Red-Nosed Reindeer Rudolph for the 7-yard strike. Vikes up 14-zip. The lone G-men highlight, fourth quarter, running back Orleans Darkwa. Yes, what a great name. He powers it into the end zone for the touchdown. Vikings are still up 17-10, and they put it away with this 4-yard TD stroll by Derek McKinnon. Vikings win 24-10, moving to 4-0, and the Vikings defense has given up only 50 points in 4 games. From the gridiron to the diamond, the American League wildcard game is tonight, a battle of the birds. The Baltimore Orioles versus the Toronto Blue Jays in a one-game winner-take-all beak fest. These American League East rivals met 19 times during the regular season, with the Jays winning 10 games. Chris Tillman will start for the Orioles, while Marcus Stroman takes the mound for the Jays. The game starts at 8 p.m., and I expect a lot of runs. Both teams can swing the bat and live for the long ball. If it comes down to closers, the O's have a distinct advantage. Zach Britton didn't blow a save all season, going 47 for 47. The winner of this game moves on to face the Texas Rangers, who had the American League's best record this season. Now stay tuned tomorrow for highlights and a preview of the National League wildcard game, my New York Mets versus the San Francisco Giants. That's it for sports. Sandy, back to you.
Gary, thank you for that. Looking forward to those highlights. And that is all for this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. On behalf of all of us, have a wonderful evening. We will see you tomorrow.